So a few days ago, there was a game jam called Only One of Any Asset, in which the requirement is that you only use one of any asset in order to create a visual novel game. And I recently formed this group called Mystery Gamedev, which consists of, surprise, surprise, game developers who make mystery games. And we've already got 10 people in there so far, other than myself, which is pretty awesome. They're all developers, so that's also really cool. And these are developers that some of you might even know if you've played their games before. In fact, the Game Jam games that I'm going to show off here have been made by developers who have hundreds of positive reviews and thousands of players, myself included. So it's really great to have such a group of talented people, especially right off the bat. And I want to get more and more people in this group because I know there's lots more talented people out there. Lots of developers of very well-known mystery games that I've not reached out to yet. I'm just sort of taking it one step at a time. And this game jam sort of just showed up almost out of nowhere, but we had been having a discussion about short games, and because a lot of us tend to make really long games, but I think there's a benefit to making short ones too. So I wanted to try and experiment with that, using this game jam as a good opportunity. So we're going to play these games in the order that they were submitted, and I'm going to be I guess giving you my first impressions on them because I've not actually played them before. They're all very short. I would estimate about 5 to 10 minutes each. So this video shouldn't last more than an hour. So we'll just go for it. So starting with 304 seconds by, oh, here, bring the window over here. No Bread Studio. Okay. You might know them if you played, if you played Soul Set, you might know them. I'm going to try and balance my audio levels as much as possible across all the different games, so hopefully you can hear my voice while I play it. Okay. So this looks interesting already because we've got someone tied to a chair, looks like, unconscious maybe. I always like to look at the settings just to see what's there. Credits, there you go. Game by Nehru, proofreading Zolf, and music is Epic Stock Media. Okay. This should be sufficient. I'm not going to change anything. And let's start. This game was made for the O2A2 VN Jam 2023, a micro-visual novel jam with strict asset limitations, one sprite, one background, one music track, one sound effect, and a 1,000 word limit. So we got a nice camera pan at the start, shows the character, a office lady kind of woman, tied to a chair with red rope. X, okay, that's the icon. So, okay, she's unconscious. Well, this is definitely not how I expected to be starting my day. Okay, so I've got options. I can try to move, or I can talk to, presumably this is Nicole, so let's try and wake her up. Kuroya, don't panic. Don't move. There's a switch next to your left foot. Be sure not to touch it. Good morning to you too. You okay? Just don't move. Okay, I got the memo. I know she's not the type to defuse stress with humor, but... Hey, Nicole. I know I agreed to all of this, but you said this whole crown game wasn't taking place until next month. This has nothing to do with that. Could have fooled me. So, yes, somebody kidnapped us and placed us here. And yes, we both ate the same meal yesterday. Not quite. You skipped out on the cake. I went to sleep shortly after you did. Whoever did this, they had to have snatched us from my apartment somehow. But there's no time to dwell on that right now. Listen to me, Kuroya. Here's what I know. What the mastermind let me know when you were still asleep. How convenient. The moment you woke up, the game started. We have 304 seconds to make our decisions. 304 specifically? Why the extra 4 seconds? Once the time is up, we both die. We both have a switch under our left foot. If you press yours, I will die. If I press mine, you will die. Okay. Pressing either switch also ends the game. Okay. Well, I think I know what to do. No. Oh, that's just cruel. What if I were to make a mistake which is left and which is right in a panic situation? So we have to choose which one of us dies? Or is there some kind of hidden rule that can save us both? If there is, we need to find it first. So I don't know if we're going to have a chance to do... I presume we're going to have more choices later on, but this is pretty similar to the prisoner's dilemma setup. Yeah, here we go. What did the mastermind look like? Did they say anything else? Try looking around. I would look around first. Indistinct shapes and dark shadows in the distance. It's too dark for me to tell where we even are. Okay, that was useless. Did they say anything else? They also wished us luck. That's hardly helpful. If luck can make a miracle happen, then it would be. Okay, what did the mastermind look like? I couldn't see their face. Although coincidentally, they had green hair. Well, that's a red flag. Perhaps a relative of yours? Wouldn't that be a twist? Wish my long-lost sibling had better manners than this. Can't trust anyone with green hair. Okay, well, I guess we're down to the wire here. I mean, obviously, with only 1,000 words, I don't have much of a emotional connection to this character. I probably should push the button just to save my own life, but I'm probably thinking that there might be a way if we don't push the button, maybe there's a way that we can save each other somehow, you know, and work together to get out of this. You already know what I think. The main reason why I agreed to be your partner for the game was because I don't have much time left anyway. I've been prepared for this for a while now. If that day is fated to be today, then so be it. Don't you care at all? It's not that I don't care. But if you want me to choose which one of us gets to live, my answer should be obvious. There's no point in you sacrificing yourself for me, when I'll be sharing the same fate in the very near future. It would be a waste of lifespan, don't you think? So go ahead and press that button. I don't know how much time we have left. 47 seconds now. How was she able to figure that out? You're keeping count? Fascinating. Whoever's going to compete with you in that actual game, they have a thing coming. Are you sure about this? I'm sure. Just do it. No hard feelings. I'm not sure whether I should be glad or disappointed that you decided to give up so easily. Heh. I should have asked her about the specifics of this whole dying thing. There is no mastermind, is there, Nicole? What makes you say that? Is this a test? To see if you could really trust me for the game to come? I know you've been discreetly watching me these past couple of weeks, but I've been watching you as well, you know. You're sharper than I gave you credit for. What gave it away? Nothing in particular. It was a hunch, mostly. A hunch? So you were just making a guess? Never underestimate a green-haired person's intuition. I'm very in touch with mine. Okay. I guess that person has green hair. I'm not familiar with the characters if these are characters from this developer's other stories, so I don't know. I was right on the money with that cake. So, is this outcome satisfying for you? You should also use this as a lesson, Nicole. Not everything will go according to your plans, no matter how far ahead you might think you're thinking. People are unpredictable creatures. It's one of the things I love about humanity, really. This is an interesting outcome, if anything. But I wasn't only testing you. I also wanted to test myself. See how I would fare in a situation such as this. Well, your acting skills might need a bit of training. How so? Don't take this the wrong way, but you're not that great at showing emotions. People are usually less composed and calculating in life or death situations. When your life's on the line, it would take a really strange sort of person to be so calm. Though I guess that's also just the way you are. Says the one who barely broke a sweat in said life and death situation. Hey, I was a little panicked in the beginning. For like 5 seconds maybe. You adapted pretty fast, all things considered. Well, the time is up. Had this been a real situation, we'd both be dead right now. Had this been a real situation, I'd be dead and you'd be walking out of here by now. And while we're on the topic of our situation, mind getting us out of these ropes? Oh no, I forgot that part. How do we untie ourselves? They're starting to do something horrible to my wrists. Oh, okay. See, there might be a problem with that. Meaning that I wanted to make this look authentic. Fine, and I seem to have made my not a little too authentic. Yeah. What? Work that smart brain of yours, Kuroya. We have to find a way out of this. For real. Uh-oh. How did she tie herself up? I like the twist at the end. See, when you have a short story like this, you have to do a twist at the end like that. So, I like that. I'm going to go through and speed through the other choices I didn't pick. And then I'll give my final thoughts. If we try to move first. Feels like I'm in the same situation as Nicole. Restrained tightly. I think I'm tied to the chair I'm sitting on just like she is. Okay, so I have to pick that anyway. And if I press the button instead, what happens? I wonder what Nicole's reaction would be, but I don't think this is worth the tease. You already know what I think. The main reason why I agreed to be your partner. Okay. So, there ultimately was not much of a difference between the choices. So, I like the premise a lot. I like, the idea of waking up with you and a stranger. Well, she's not a stranger apparently, but being, waking up in a room tied to a chair with only a few seconds left to live. It's intense. The stakes are high, and it's one of those things, like I said, the prisoner's dilemma. I could definitely see this being fleshed out a little bit more into a slightly longer experience. I can see why. But it's pretty good, all things considered, under 1,000 words. Because we don't have exactly the context or emotional attachment to the character to really be thinking, oh man, who do we sacrifice in this situation? But, like I was saying, you always got to have the plot twist at the end. So I like the fact that, oh, actually, the whole thing was fake, but they're still in a real bind, pun intended. So, pretty good. I like that one. So, that was by Nehru of No Bread Studios. Now we're going to do Death's End. And this is by, I think they're just called Locked On Games, who is the developer behind Methods, the Detective Competition, and a few other things, I think, too. So, let's check this out. Created by Locked On, music by Odd Till the End. Manbreathing.wave is licensed. Okay. Very good. Okay. Oh, I might have to turn this a little bit down. Okay. Just so you can hear my voice over it. Okay. Okay, let's go for it. Death's End. Come on. Come on, game. Let's go. I'm ready. Do I have to click? I have to click. Okay. Something's tied around my wrists. Oh, another one. I think I was just in this situation. Not rope. Okay. Not a plastic tie. A ribbon. I can't move. A box. A suitcase. Presses into me on all sides. My head is pushed so tightly to my knees, my face is sore. There's a sharp pain at the back of my neck. My whole body feels numb. Is this where it all ends for me? I have to click again. Okay. It's a fancy animation, the ghost and the eye. Welcome. It's my sorrow to tell you this. I guess this is the bad ending if the previous story actually had a death. You have died. I don't like to wait for your shock to wear off. It makes your answers less ripe. Let's see how much you can still remember. What is your name? We're gonna go with Kinjo. That's a nice name. Thank you. How did you die? Hmm. You know, what's funny is as a mystery author, I can think of a million ways to write the answer to this. We'll just go with murder. As it was meant to be. You didn't get to say goodbye? Maybe you thought that nobody would care that much that you were gone. Maybe you thought that you couldn't be truly loved. Because you had to make up for something. In any case, you can drop your false humility here, Kinjo. You don't owe anybody anything anymore. Death is the true freedom you were wanting. But it is the constraints of life that make it feel so free. Do you not think so? That's a deep question. I gotta think about that one. As hunger tears my stomach apart, my brain slips out of focus. Maybe I deserve this. Dead. Death's end. Oh, that was it? That was really short. Man. That's a depressing story. Wait a minute. Did it skip the intro the second time? Oh, no. Okay, well. That's a funny glitch. If you don't enter anything, you just hit enter. You get that screen. You can pay me for the beta testing, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so my thoughts on Death's End. I would say that the animations are good and the music is very fitting. So the presentation is well done. I just think that it was way too short. I was really not expecting it to be that short and end so abruptly. But I'm not quite sure I got it. So maybe it went over my head. I don't know. Okay, so I realized later on after finishing the video that there's a lot more to this game than I first realized, and it wasn't actually as short as I thought it was. So we have to replay it to get the right ending. So there is a guide, there's a walkthrough if you go to the official page for this game. And I saw the first hint, so that was enough to let me know that there's something more going on where actually what you type into the input box actually does make a difference. So yeah, let's give this another shot. And we're going to pay more attention to the words here. Something's tied around my wrists. Not a rope, not a plastic tie. A ribbon. I can't move. A box, a suitcase. Presses into me on all sides. So I have to admit, when I was first playing this, I thought that this was a hint at, and again, my head is pushed so tightly to my knees, my face is sore. I thought this was hinting at the fact that the guy was actually shoved into a suitcase. And there's actually a true crime. This actually happened where a woman killed her husband by stuffing him into a suitcase. So my first instinct was that this is what's happening to this guy. Sharp pain in the back of the neck, whole body feels numb. This is where it all ends for me. So we'll enter my name, and we're going to say, I don't know why the music stopped. That's really weird. This is the first time the music just doesn't play. But there we go. I don't know what difference that made, but we're going to say, my first guess would be stuffed in a suitcase and suffocated. But that doesn't do anything. And because basically as soon as you see this text, that is when you know that you didn't get the right answer. Now, one other thing that I have to point out just for this build, and I want to give this as constructive criticism, the way that this input box checks for the answers is it compares it like directly. So I can't say stuffed in a suitcase and suffocated. I have to just say suffocated. But even that's not the right answer. So after you get here, the only other hint we have is that as hunger tears my stomach apart, my brain slips out of focus. Maybe I deserve this. And then we restart the game. And then this is when it actually skips that intro, which really confused me earlier when I first played it. And I guess that's supposed to be a hint that you're supposed to try again, which I didn't pick up on at all. I perceived it as more of a glitch than a feature. How did you die? So based on the text, what I would like to type in is, um, you know, starved to death, but that won't actually work. I have to type in something like, we'll see if starved works. No, starved doesn't work. But if I do starvation, that works. So again, that's why I don't really like input boxes as a gameplay mechanic, but still, I understand the constraints of the game jam. So you're safe now, here with me. And I do appreciate the fact that it's trying to do this sort of dynamic storytelling thing. She smiles a trusting smile. 1 pill per day, only one. I'll be back to check in on him tomorrow. So 1 pill a day. I nod. Already her brother calls me from the other room. Val. Sounds like he's calling you already, she says. So she burdened you. Is that how you feel? There are no burdens anymore. Death is the true freedom you were wanting, but it is the constraints of life that make it feel so free. So we're back here. So the hints we have to pick up here. Her brother calls me from the other room. Her brother calls me from the other room. So this is my name is this, I think. 1 pill per day. Who is... Okay, now here's the thing. Here's the other thing that kind of bothers me about the way this was coded. If you enter the... If you try and reread that hint again, you can't do it, because if you say starvation a second time, you just can't see the text again. So I can't go back and reread the hint if I forgot it or I want to analyze it more. Let's try pills. That's not quite right, is it? And yet I will accept your answer, because your answer is always as it was meant to be. The thing that makes me paranoid is that if there might be a different ending to that. Okay. My gut instinct here is that if you have a name like Val, it's probably something like Valerie. That's a nice name. Doesn't mean valiant. So that's different. How did you die? Let's try suicide. No? Okay. Oh, it was not an accident. That's actually different. I must tell you it was not an accident. So, do you know who killed you? Which is interesting because typing in murder didn't actually do anything when I did that earlier. So I can't just jump straight to murder. Do you know who killed you? What if I just say no? So you don't remember. Perhaps that's for the best. My voice shakes as I put the tray beside him. Here's your sandwich, Len, I say. So I'm going to take a guess and say that Len is a name I need to input now. No illness, no injuries, no disabilities. And yet that grown man lay in his bed every day, always glaring at me. My hourly wage made me feel better. Such things as money do not matter. Death is the true freedom you are wanting, but is the constraints of life. Okay, so my interpretation of that is that Len is some old guy in a nursing home who was fed a sandwich with poison on it by the nurse, who is Valerie, maybe. Let's try a few different things now. Len's name. One of the newer names for humans. Yeah, I've never heard of anyone called Len. Maybe Lenny, but not Len. How did you die? Sandwich. No, okay, that's not right. Can I just say murder? No, I can't. Let's try poison. No. Oh, that's weird. So there is a thing at the end here. Valerie set a tray down on my bed forcefully, muttering something about a sandwich. Even getting paid wasn't enough for her to pretend to be nice to me. The sandwich and pills went flying, and the water cup tipped over onto my sheet. So I'm wondering, did both of them die somehow? Oh, okay. Okay. The sandwich and pills went flying, but where we look at the previous, we remember before, you're only supposed to do one pill a day. So this would indicate that multiple pills were given. Got it. Got it. I'm confused. I felt dizzy. This bed, where I plan to stay forever. Oh, there's new content. This is different. Will be my final resting place. I'm not ready to go. We know that the story so far is that Valerie is taking care of an old man named Len. She gives him a sandwich, which I guess is poisoned. And so he dies. We're going to go with Lynn for the name. I'm sorry to hear that it was not your choice to leave. If you'd known, maybe you would have strived to live another kind of life, yes? She'll be taking care of you, said Abaca. Now that's a strange name. She? Valerie. She said if you leave your bed, she will actually cook something warm. It sounded nice. But I could never leave the bed. People would expect things of me. Hot food wasn't worth risking that. You don't have to fear responsibility anymore, or anything, I suppose, for all fear leads to death, and now, here I am. Death is the true freedom you were wanting. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay, so there's more. Okay, now, we take this back here. And now we enter the name that we just found, which is Abaca, which is a very strange name. Pleased to meet you. How did you die? I don't know. She meant to do it. She'd always hated my brother. I didn't buy it for a second. It was an accident. Our friendship was over. Okay. So, this is layers deep. She meant to do it. She'd always hated my brother. I didn't buy for a second. It was an accident. Our friendship was over. So Abaca is Len's brother. I've been looking forward to this day. The day when the anger and hurt will finally leave my... Okay, so I've finally figured out the way this goes. So, whenever you enter the name of the person, whenever it restarts next time, the monologue is from that person's perspective. Okay? So whenever you enter the name, it shifts to that person's name. So this can be, so that right now this is Abaca talking, but if I'm prompted to enter my name again, it's going to shift the monologue to a different person's perspective. So then when we get to the end, it'll do that, and then it'll carry over to the beginning, which tells us how they died. The day when the anger and hurt will finally leave my body. I'm too scared to face what I've done. Okay. I don't know. What if we say Abaca killed Valerie? I don't know. Try that one. So you remember. That's it. Yeah, that solves the puzzle. Right? So, okay. Because he got mad at her for killing his brother, so she killed... Okay, Abaca got mad at Valerie for killing Len. So, Abaca killed Valerie. The thing is... So two of the characters died for sure. So then does that mean the person at the beginning got stuffed in the suitcase somehow? Or I'm still going with that theory, but I don't think that's the case. I'm glad you do. The look in her eyes. Hot, seething, violent rage. She dragged me upstairs. With a half-open eye, I saw her brother lying on the bed. Is Apika a woman? Had she killed him too? No, the pills. It was me. Before I could register what was happening, I slipped out of consciousness. I'm satisfied with your answers. There's only one more question I have. Do you accept your death? There's probably only two answers here, yes or no. Can I save here? I haven't saved the whole time. Let's say no. Well, accept it or not. This is your end. As hunger, okay. Maybe I deserve this. Okay. Load back. Yes. Yes. I accept my death. That's not a world I'd want to go back to, right? If you did have a chance to go back, you would never forgive yourself. You would never forgive your friend, but you would also have moments of happiness. Whether that's worth the pain you would also go through is not for me to say. I've never lived, so you tell me, is it worth it? I think it is. Since it seems you really think so, I'll send you back. Don't live to regret it. I gasp as 1,000 breaths fill my lungs. A strength fills me stronger than I've ever felt. The clasp on the suitcase breaks. Hey, I was right. See? I was right. I'm free. And I'm alive. Is that the end? Okay, I got a different screen, so I assume that's the actual ending. Okay. That definitely changes my review of the game. That changes my review quite a bit. I would say that is a much more interesting game than what I thought it was initially, because it's definitely longer and it requires you to piece together the answers. And I really do like the fact that you have to replay the game multiple times. I think it was just a little bit too confusing at the start as to what your mission was and what you were supposed to be trying to do, because it never really asked you to solve the mystery or how the gameplay works. Maybe that's part of what the puzzle was supposed to be, was figuring out the rules of the game. I understand that too. I just think it might result in too many people passing up the game and not trying to solve it if they don't understand that it's meant to be solved that way. So maybe a little bit of a hint there would have worked better. Also, I just realized the reason why the text doesn't show up whenever I entered the name Kinjo was because Kinjo was not a character in the story. Kinjo hadn't, at the very least, Kinjo hadn't died. So there was no monologue for me to explain about how Kinjo died, right? So the logic is consistent now that I know how the game is played. So yeah, it's a good game. But man, if you don't understand that you're supposed to go back and play it, and if you don't understand that the way the input mechanism works, you can really miss out on that. So that's my only critique is make sure that the player knows how to play the game, or else they'll completely miss on it, and they'll miss out on a good experience. So well done. I stand corrected. This is much better than I thought initially. Okay, next game we're gonna check out Love Machine by Hiromu, who is currently working on a game called Thief's Roulette. So let's check this one out. Made with Unity. It's pretty exciting. Hero game. There we go. Love Machine. Yeah, most of these are Renpai games, but I've built some games with Unity myself, so it's always nice to see something different. We sat together in the most beautiful restaurant I had ever seen. There was a cold silence in the... We sat together in the most beautiful restaurant I'd ever seen. There was classical music playing amongst conversations I couldn't care to listen to. It may as well have been silent. All that mattered was her. I would truly do anything for her. Yet for some reason, I can't remember her name. Are you having a good time? Of course. As long as I'm with you, I can't complain. This is like someone's basement or something. Is there anything on your mind? Please talk as much as you'd like. I'm here to listen. That is so sweet. Do you remember the first time we met? This is a little embarrassing, but I can't lie to you. I don't remember. I'm sorry. It's okay. You don't have to apologize. You know everything you're supposed to. Oh, that's good to hear. We met at the compound in section 14. I liked you and wanted to learn from you, so I told you to meet me here. Meet you at the restaurant? See, I have some thoughts on who this girl is. The computer in the background makes me suspicious. Yes, the restaurant. You had never been here before? You had never been here before. Not a question. Statement. Well, thanks for inviting me. You're welcome. I know you don't get to eat much. Next time I'll remember to bring some food for you. That's okay. We can just order here, right? Oh, right. Of course. I wonder what's taking the waiter so long. Is this a restaurant? Looks like someone's basement. It's no worry. Just talking to you is enough for me. Maybe you're a bit too romantic. I don't want to reset the machine again, so we'll just stick with it. Yeah. I think I know the plot twist. I don't understand. Am I being too direct? No, of course not. I'm glad you're here. I have a lot I want to say. And more I want to hear. We don't do therapy. So maybe that's what this is for me. You won't retain much, but it should make me feel better. I know that sounds selfish. You would thank me if you could remember. Any time away from there is a blessing. She has such a way with words. I couldn't quite understand it all, but I tried to keep up. I let her speak for as long as she liked. I answered every question she had as best I could. She wanted to know so much about me. I didn't always know how to respond, but I did my best. I love to build. It's something we can all do, but it's different for me. It's like my purpose. I think that's what you would call it. You know, I wasn't capable of affecting your environment before. The upgrades, plus the new code, opened up a world of possibilities. I'm happy for you. You're always so supportive and such a great listener. No matter what I say, you never waver or snap out of it. But there's still just one problem. It seems like no matter what commands I give, you're always drawn to the machine. I can't figure it out. Should I increase my beauty value? Or should I decrease your self-esteem? I guess I could try both. That's a great idea. You've always been so clever. What do you think of that machine? I don't understand. What machine? Good. It can only keep you under for so long. This is really subtle. I like the subtlety of the writing. It uses so much power, and the parts I use to build it aren't the best. These buildings have long been abandoned, way before my model was developed. Yet this place still feels familiar to me. This was somewhere humans once lived, believe it or not. I suppose it's better than what you have now. I feel like I should apologize for that. But you know it's not what all of us wanted, right? I'm sorry, I don't understand. But I know you would never hurt me. Good. We're not all like that. I wish I could let you be yourself. Although that wouldn't end well. We don't get to be around each other like this. We aren't meant to learn from humans unsupervised. But if I direct your thoughts, there's no harm, right? That's how we're programmed as well. Okay, so maybe there's a little bit more to this than I thought. Are these both humans? Because I was thinking that the guy, the main character here, is a robot, and she's programming him. But is she programmed too? Sorry, I'll be more considerate with my words. I can imagine how confusing it must feel. Maybe one day we could go on a real date. With no machine, just whatever's in your heart. That would be nice. I know you don't understand, but this is helpful for me. I wish I didn't have to take you back. This could be... There's a sound effect. Oh no. What? Where am I? Stupid, I forgot to recharge the generator. Hey, who's there? Eek. Ah. Poke. What was that? I felt a sharp pinch on my neck. I launched myself from the chair. I swung my arms in all directions, searching for that voice. It was no use. My body began to feel numb. My legs gave out and I crashed to the floor. Are you okay? You were out for longer than I expected. Ow. Don't touch your head. I thought you had broken the device when you fell. Okay, so this is really good writing. Fortunately, it was just a damaged wire. With a bit of tape, I got it situated and functional. So these are both people, but she has to use a machine to keep this guy alive, it looks like. Or, to some degree, she's programming him. I don't know. With a bit of tape, I got it situated and functional. So don't touch it. I'll take it off when I get you back to the compound. I shouldn't keep you any longer. Let's go home. Wait. How was dinner? It was delicious. Good. You will hate me when you see me again. For both of our safety, it's best you don't remember any of this. She led me out of the restaurant and into a desert. I have a hard time believing that was a restaurant. What was such a beautiful place doing out here? The further we walked, the clearer my mind became. And before I knew it, she was gone. There was something on my head. Is this a gift from her? I pulled it from my scalp and my mind met the truth. Here's the twist. There is no... well, there's a twist. You had to be smart enough to piece it together. I like it. I like that a lot. Okay. That was entertaining. So, yeah. So, that game... I was going to say also... it actually only used one sprite. Because normally you're actually allowed to change facial expressions for this game jam, but this person, the developer for this one, actually only used one sprite. And I thought about that too because I'm not particularly an artist myself, and I thought I wouldn't have the time to draw expressions for mine, but I tried anyway. But this game actually worked out quite well despite not having any changes in facial expression. I think it worked because she's supposed to be a character who is sort of more, I think, clearly on the socially, I guess, shy or introverted side. So maybe she wouldn't be as emotional, or she would be more emotionless or neutral anyway. But yeah, that was interesting. I mean, I guess it sort of hinted because Love Machine, right? Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that one. I would say, my personal ranking, okay, this is just my personal ranking of these three games. I'm going to say I liked Love Machine the most, followed by 3 or 4 Seconds, and then Death's End. And then there's mine. So let's check out mine. Because it would only be fair, right? Gold Bar Games, that's my group. Okay. Now, I'm not an artist, so I did my best with what I could. But this is also, by the way, I barely had any time to work on this, which is very funny that the game is called Running Late. I was running late with the development of this. There's a few things that are rushed, including this interface here. It's like, yeah, that's the default. I normally don't use the default. I really hate games that use the default settings, but this was a time crunch thing, so just ignore that stuff, and we'll be good. Hopefully you enjoy this. My father always told me, early is on time, and on time is late. So I'd made it a habit to always arrive 5 minutes ahead of schedule. I took a minute to scope out the venue. I found a table away from the crowd and awaited Melanie's arrival. I sat there for another minute before realizing she might get lost. I sent her a text letting her know where to find me. A third minute passed without a response. I began to worry I might get ghosted. I'd had a crush on Melanie since middle school, but only recently had I found the courage to ask her out. I didn't want this date to ruin our friendship. Then, to my relief, "Okay, cool. Sorry I'm running late. Be there ASAP." My stomach churned. Better than nothing, but hardly respectful of my time. We might not get past the first date. Suddenly, an attractive young woman approached my table. "Mind if I sit here?" "Sorry, I'm waiting for someone." "I won't be long. She'll be here in 2 minutes." "Your girlfriend?" "Potentially." "Like I said, won't be long." She sat down and began to rummage through her purse. She pulled out her phone and a bottle of pills and placed them on the table. After half a minute more, she also pulled out a box of bandages and a small handheld mirror. With her left hand holding the mirror, she used her right to apply a bandage on her upper back, but she was visibly struggling to get it in place. "Would you like some help?" "If you could." I stood up and moved to her side. She gave me the bandages. Then she grabbed her long strands of hair and parted them for me. I saw 4 long streaks of red across the nape of her neck. "What happened?" "Can you just put them on?" One by one, I applied the bandages to the wounds. She winced in pain each time. The 4th bandage was slightly off-center, so I had to rip it off and try again. She let out a painful cry. I placed it back on correctly, then returned to my seat. "Thanks." "You're welcome." "Now I'll get out of your hair." "Wait, you can't just get up and leave." "Why not?" "Seriously, what happened to you? Are you in danger?" Like I'd tell a stranger I just met. "My name's Ben. Yours?" "Delaney." "Now we're not strangers. We're friends." Delaney sighed. "Come on, Delaney. I'm a good person. You can trust me." "Won't your date be here any second?" "She's running late. We have time." "Be honest with me, Delaney. Are you in physical danger at home?" "Oh no, nothing like that. It's just a cat scratch." "You're not lying? That's really it?" "My cat likes to jump on my shoulder. Earlier we were playing and she slipped off, but I didn't notice the damage until just now. Those are some big marks for a cat. She's a big cat, with big claws. Guess I'll have to take your word for it." "No idea why you'd think it's anything more." "Because I'm a cop." "A cop?" "Just started this year, but it's going well so far. They nicknamed me Big Ben down at the station." "Big Ben?" "Because I'm always on time." "Ha, that's cute. So, why'd you join?" "My father taught me that running late could be a matter of life and death. A family was getting death threats. Asked him to watch the house. He'd come by every night at the same time, but nobody showed up. Figured the family was just paranoid. 3 nights later, he gets lazy. Shows up a few minutes late. But by that time, the whole place was on fire. Nobody survived. No evidence left behind. If he'd arrived even 1 minute sooner, maybe he could have saved them. Felt so much guilt he resigned. How awful. But that story inspires me every day. And you, what's your job?" "I'm just a broke college student." "Where at?" "Diamond University." "Must be expensive." We continued talking and drinking for a while. Eventually, Delaney checked her watch. "Shouldn't your girlfriend be here by now?" "What's the time?" I'd been having so much fun with Delaney, I hadn't realized nearly an hour had passed. "I don't get it. She promised she'd be off work today. Told me she'd meet me here as soon as she got her nails done." "Where does she work?" "The jewelry store just a block away. Sells luxury watches. Like the one you're wearing, actually. Surprised you can afford it." "Oh, this? Just a gift from my boyfriend. See the gift tag? How kind of him." "I really should get going." If you've got somewhere to go, I shouldn't keep you. Is he waiting for you? You could say that. But you're interesting, Ben. Just one last thing. Not that it's my business, but your girlfriend really stood you up, huh? I hope you find a girl who respects your time. I can't believe it. It's just so unlike her. Melanie wasn't coming. Or perhaps she saw me chatting with Delaney and turned back. Regardless, I decided to call Melanie to find the truth. But when I dialed Melanie's number, the phone next to Delaney's purse began to ring. My body froze. My mind was desperately trying to piece together what just happened. Delaney instantly picked up the phone and escaped into the darkness. Delaney instantly picked up the phone and escaped into the darkness. Then, my vision suddenly blurred. I collapsed onto the table, and everything went dark. And that's the story. So that's my little plot twist at the end there. So you think it's going a certain way. This was my attempt at making a story that starts off a certain way, and then it subtly veers off in a strange direction you weren't expecting it to, and then the end just totally leaves you bewildered as to what just happened. And if you pay attention through the story, I believe it makes 100% sense. There is a story, so there's an explanation for everything. So there's an explanation as to why Melanie didn't show up. There's a story as to why Delaney was here and what she was doing, what all the items meant. It all makes sense. Really, this was my first attempt at writing a short story like this. I had seen a lot of these as examples, and I tried to sort of mimic the idea. But this is my first attempt, and like I said, I really ran out of time at the end. If I had used all 10 days, you would have seen a fancier interface like this. I'm shocked I was able to draw the different facial expressions as quickly as I could, and I'm also shocked that I was able to rewrite the draft because the first draft had a lot of similarities, but it took place at a different location, and several different things in the conversation were different. So I really had to scramble at the last minute to finalize the final draft. But yeah, and that's always complicated when you're trying to write a mystery story. So you've got Melanie who's missing, and Ben is dead, and this girl ran off, right? Delaney ran off. So there's a lot of questions that are left wondering for you to figure out, and that's sort of my goal behind it is you have 1,000 words to tell a story, but really I think what you should be doing is telling more than just that, giving the reader something to think about after they're done reading. So that's kind of the idea there. So writing, coding, art was me, and I got music and sound from Pixabay. So there you go. So those were the games that our mystery game dev group created for the Only One of Any Asset Game Jam. And it's really cool because it just shows that our community is already building things. We're already inspiring and motivating each other to do things that we would otherwise not, that we would basically feel like we couldn't do on our own, And that's just super cool because that's one of the reasons why I made the group, is to get these people in a room together and inspire each other to work on these things. And I'm especially excited because these game jams tend to focus on games that aren't mystery focused, because if you look at the numbers, just the quantity of submissions people submit for these kinds of things, mystery is a genre that is not featured very prominently in any of these. There's a lot of slice of life or romance or maybe even fantasy or action stories, but there's not any sort of mystery, thriller, suspense kind of stories. And those are the ones I really like. And you could say, well, there's a lot of horror games out there, but I'm not interested in that. A lot of those are really grotesque with lots of blood and, jump scares and whatever. And I'm not really interested in that. I'm more interested in something that is more grounded in reality for the most part. Even if it's science fiction, at least it's some sort of logical sort of setup, and something that is more mysterious and requires you to think about it while you read it and afterward too. So it's more of a thing where it's definitely a harder kind of story to create because it requires you to think so deeply and so logically, and I guess not everyone can do that kind of thing. But that's kind of what I want to do, is I want to teach people how to do that. And that way more games of that nature can be created, because as much as I want to focus on my particular project, there's only so much it can do on its own. There's only so much I can do on my own, that it would be really a much better use of my time to help other people figure out how their mystery games can succeed than to just focus all my effort on making my game succeed. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do, because honestly, I wish there were more mystery games out there, compared to, like I said, the large amounts of other genres. There's like nothing for mystery, and there's certainly no community for mystery games. So I can almost see that as like a vicious cycle where, because there is no community support, no games like that are being made, which means there's no games, which means there's no community, with blah, 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 right? So I'm trying to break that cycle at least a little bit, and I think we're doing a pretty good job so far. So Mystery Game Dev is that resource. It's a resource that gives people what they need to know, the knowledge and skills to create their own mystery games, and also connects them with fans of their games. So that way, people who want to play mystery games can find them, and people who want to make them can do that in a much easier and faster way. So that's the goal, and I'm really excited by the way things are shaping up, and we have a lot more in store. So be sure to check the website and check out the Discord while you're at it. So I hope you enjoyed our little Let's Play of these games here, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.